Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers, and I wasn't really going to touch on this one, but I see people getting this one wrong, so I'm going to cover this real quick, and let me know what you think below. I'm not going to take sides, I'm just going to tell you how this works. This is FinTips, by the way, a really short, quick series that we do to just teach you something and then get out of your way so you can get back to life. Well, you've probably seen a 70% tax proposal out there. Cute little brand new Congresswoman who has this proposal. She's been the one selected to put this forward. Now, if you're a Democrat, then Democrat sort of media, I won't name names, but what you see on the headlines there is tax the wealthy their fair share. And it'll say 70% tax on the wealthy. That's misleading. If you're a Republican and you're watching the Republican media side, no problem either, but your headlines are wrong as well. It'll say Democrats want to tax the wealthy 70% and stunt economic growth or whatever it is. Both sides are pushing headlines that are just not true. I want to clear this up real quick. Now, this will be part of the 2020 election, mark my words. They're going to make a big point of this. But here's how this works. When they say tax the wealthy 70%, they don't mean tax every dollar they make at 70%. I think none of us can agree that that makes any sense at all, nor would you want to pay that tax should you make that much. Well, lucky for them, they don't have to. See, in the U.S. here, we use a series of tax rates to come up with your marginal, it's a marginal tax rate sort of system there, and I wrote some of them on the board there in the back. We'll get to that in a second. How it works basically is depending on how much you make and your filing status, you will pay one of the 7 tax brackets to start, then the next one and the next one and the next one. The easy way to say it is if you make a certain amount of money, then you'll pay 10% of the first portion of your income. I believe it's $19,400. If you are married filing jointly, you pay 10% on the first $19,400. Then we move on to the 12% tax bracket, and from the next, like $59,000 or so, you pay 12%. If you make even more than that, once you cross over $78,950 as a family, then you'll pay 22% on the next grouping of money. You do not pay the full tax amount in whatever bracket you land. It's a pretty basic thing for some of you, but a lot of you have never heard that before. So as an example, let me see if I can zoom in. This won't look very good, I apologize, but if you make $100,000 a year, the first 10% of your money, or $19,400, will be taxed at 10%. From there, $19,401 all the way up to $78,950 will be taxed at 12%. It's like $59,000 or so. The next $21,000 or so that would be left over out of your $100,000 would be taxed at 22%. So your tax bracket would be 22%. However, you paid an effective tax rate total of only 13.7%. You did not pay 22%. So as you work your way up that scale, what happens here is more and more, the tax rates go higher and higher, all the way to 37%, I believe, up to $612,000 or so. So that's the highest tax rate, but you do not pay that on the $612,000. So what's being pushed right now in the media is, on one side, they want you to think it's ridiculous. On the other side, they want you to think it's fair or whatever, and they're going to duke it out, and so what? It doesn't matter what side you land on. The important thing is that you know how it works, and don't let them incite some sort of action, violence, frustration, whatever it may be. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, 70%, I don't know, that seems high. Some of you will say, well, that seems fair. They make a lot of money. They should pay a lot more. Doesn't matter where you land. The important thing is, this is nothing new, by the way. If you're older than me and you go back a little bit, or you had a great history teacher in school, then you know that the tax rates, the highest is actually 92%. The highest tax rate in history was 92%. And you know how we have 7 tax brackets right now? There were like 26, don't hold me to that number, it was something like 26 tax brackets at one point back in the 50s. Now, Ronald Reagan, I believe, was the president, because I remember a lot of cheer and fuss over this. When he was president, he actually lowered taxes and was seen as sort of, a hero for doing that. Well, what he did, the highest tax bracket was actually 91% at that time. He lowered it to 70. Isn't that an interesting number? How did we come up with the 70%, huh? So Ronald Reagan lowered it to 70%. And then I believe it was George H.W. Bush that was like the real hero that lowered it, that got rid of it altogether, and is kind of basically where we're at today. So the point being, you may think it's ridiculous, but it happened in history. It wasn't great, but it did happen in history. You may think it's a good idea, but it's nothing new, right? So know that this 70% garbage that they are pushing on you is just to try to get you to pick sides for the political election coming up. And you want to know what's really going to happen if you study history on these tax brackets. When they hit these higher numbers and they throw these higher numbers out there, you want to know who really suffers? Right now, it'll be the people that make between like 200 and 300,000. You guys are the ones that are going to end up with the higher tax brackets. Watch how it works. They start on the high end to get you feeling like the wealthy should pay more, and then they go, turns out, you know, someone that makes $1 million, well, they're wealthy, we should tax them a little bit more. Someone who makes 2 to 3, 4, 500,000, hey, they should pay more. Ultimately, if history repeats itself, those people end up paying more. The wealthy actually don't pay much at all. And you know, the people that make 2 to 300,000, those are the people that actually can't afford to go move money elsewhere, offshore, different funds and things like that. So it's really a shame, but that's how it works. Hopefully I didn't stumble too much and that helps you out. Let me know below, what do you think? 70% tax rate at the $10 million mark and over. Is that fair? What do you think? I'll keep my opinion aside for now, but do you think that's fair or that is ridiculous? Let me know. Enjoy.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.